Hello, my name is Frank van Praag. I'm with Qualtrics in Canberra and I look after Australian government initiatives. What we see here is a dashboard that we've created in the Qualtrics software as a service platform. As you can see, we're in an Australian data center on the Australian Qualtrics platform, and I've logged in as myself, Frank van Praag. I can now see here a cross-agency feedback graph that shows me the amount of feedback that's been received from various government sites and where that feedback has generally come from, either australia.gov, business.gov, innovation.gov or my.gov. Now on this chart you can investigate and see exactly which organization has been busy. We can filter some of them out, put them back in like this. These charts are remarkably easy to generate and very easy to navigate. I've created multiple tabs here, so if I want to just look at mygov.au, I can see what people have been saying on mygov.au, including what keywords have been used in negative feedback, where they've given a low rating to a website, and what keywords have been used to have given a positive rating. And these are some of the comments that you can see here. When traveling overseas, I can't access mygov.au. What's going on? So those are the kinds of comments that have been captured in these charts. To create these kind of charts is very straightforward. We just add another page. We might call it hello, and then we add widgets to that page. So for example, we might put a pie chart on there, and on that pie chart on the right hand side you can see the properties. We may add the department for which the feedback was received, and now we've got a count for every department, mygov.au being in a light blue there and australia.gov.au being in darker blue. We can resize these, perhaps make that a lot smaller, push it off to the left hand side, add another widget. In this case it might be a simple chart like a bar chart. On there I might like to put again the department, but this time I'd like to show it over time. So I'm going to show when the feedback was received. It initially shows it as a bar chart, but I want to actually change that to an area chart because I think that looks a little better. We can now see over time how much feedback has been received. Now I want to stack them on top of each other like we saw before, normalize it so it always goes up to 100%, and there's the original chart that we started with. Now some of these charts can get very advanced. For example, you might like to look at correlations of how good feedback there might be indicators that will tell us about a website whether the users are going to give good feedback. And I'll just quickly show you the key drivers here. We have collected an NPS score, also known as a Net Promoter Score, and we also ask questions from the end users on particular websites whether they believe that agency is digitally ready. And you can see on this chart that the NPS score is strong when the user has said that they believe the agency is digitally ready. If we look at some of the other drivers, like the responsiveness of the website, that seems to rate quite poorly. So there's no strong correlation between whether the website is believed to be responsive by the citizen and them giving them a high Net Promoter Score. Okay, what I'm going to show now is what kind of surveys may have been used to collect feedback. This is the survey editor. It's called Research Suite, and I have a number of surveys active at the moment. Here I've got the web page feedback service already 1.7 thousand responses have been collected, and you can see over the 12-day trend a lot of responses have been collected recently. And then I've got also a web page ratings survey that I only recently released, and I already have 9 responses, and a usability survey and many other surveys. So what I might do is I might just show real quick the kind of feedback that we get through a web page feedback survey, and that takes us into the editor. In the editor we can see what questions we're asking and change and add the logic. So here is what is your feedback about. I can edit this survey, add questions, remove questions, and you can just see some of the logic that's been added in, so that if was this page helpful was selected, it will or will not show this page or this question. I'm not going to concentrate too much on the actual survey order, the survey authoring, but what I will show is how this looks when it's put in front of an end user inside a browser. We can get a quick feel for that both on a mobile device on the right and on a browser on the left. As you can see, as you click through these, whether you're clicking on the mobile device or on anything else, it is very responsive and it feels good. Right, so that's the survey editing environment and survey preview. We can then also, of course, look at the data that's come back and report against it, but we've been really looking at that reporting in this environment here. Next thing you might ask is, so you want to put these surveys in front of people that are visiting a particular website. So in the case of the ATO that have recently gone live with our software, they've chosen to put the surveys towards the bottom of the page here. How can we improve this page? And when the user clicks on here to provide feedback, they can see the survey questions appear there. So they may not like the information on this page, might want to add more detail. Now, putting this on a page for the ATO is actually very, very straightforward. The way that they've done that is, if we view the page source and find Qualtrics, is they've included a small area called the Qualtrics feedback zone. It's a small div with an ID, and that div we will replace with whatever survey they want to place there. So that div sits here at the bottom. On other websites, on other pages, they might like to have a different rendition of what how the feedback is collected. So for example here, when we're on the superannuation page, when the URL contains the word super, the feedback tab appears on the right hand side. You might be wondering, how does that happen? How is that controlled? Well, that is done through Site Intercept, again another Qualtrics software as a service product. Here you can design your feedback creatives, how you want it to look. This is the feedback tab that would appear on the right hand side of the screen as you saw before. It appears on the right just there, and it comes out. You can preview what that might look like on other devices, like for example on an iPhone that may not look as good as it might on another device, so you can test that out. And there are other feedbacks as well. There's the feedback on how can we improve this page with a provide feedback button, and also can you please rate this page. Now you may want to apply some logic on which of these surveys you want to show and where on the ATO page in this example, and we do that by defining intercept logic. Here we have some intercept logic that's already active on the ATO page that I was showing you before, where if the current URL contains super, it will show the feedback tab with the web feedback survey embedded in it. Otherwise, it will look to see if the current URL contains the word individuals. If that is the case, then it will use that little div at the bottom of the page and replace it with a web page rating survey. And finally, if the URL contains the word business, it will actually contain a web page feedback survey at the bottom of the page. And that, of course, is quite visible here at the bottom. We've got the standard website feedback. On individuals, we've got the let's rate this page, which looks a little different. It's got logic built in there. If people give a lot of stars, like 3.5 stars, the question is, what did you like about it? If it is a smaller number, how can we improve this page? So let's actually just push ahead now. Let's be specific. I was looking for something but couldn't find it. I might want to provide that as feedback. That now has gone into the Qualtrics data environment on our IRAP assessed Australian data center. We can now go back into Vocalize and have a look back at the cross-agency summary. When we do a refresh we should see at the moment there is no ATO in this list, but if I've done this correctly, then there should now be a response which might take 30 seconds or so to come into the environment. It's not there just yet, but eventually ATO will appear on this list here, and we'll see our response from the ATO website in there. I hope you found this helpful. My name is Frank van Praag, and I do hope that we can look at helping your organization further.